It sounds cliche, yes, but those advice, those things that you need to do are the most practical thing to do actually before you buy a property in the Philippines. You know what's crazy? Every year, foreigners lose millions of pesos buying the wrong property in the Philippines. And the worst part, most of these mistakes are completely avoidable. I've seen expats buy condos they can't resell, land they can't legally own, and dream homes that turn into financial nightmares after just 1 year. So in this video, I'll show you the top 5 mistakes foreigners make when buying properties in the Philippines. And more importantly, how to avoid them. So mistake number 1, not understanding foreign ownership laws. This is the biggest one. A lot of foreigners arrive in the Philippines thinking, if I have money, I can buy land. No, foreigners cannot directly own lands in the Philippines. And every year, people discover this way too late. Now here's where things get dangerous. Some people put the property under their girlfriend's name, their wife's name, or a friend's name thinking everything will be fine until relationships change and suddenly, legally, the property was never theirs to begin with. I've personally heard horror stories about foreigners losing entire homes because they trusted the wrong person. Now, to be clear, there are legal ways for foreigners to invest in Philippine real estate. For example, buying condominium units, long-term land leases, 99 years, by the way, purchasing through a corporation under certain conditions, marrying a Filipino spouse with proper legal structure. But this is where you absolutely need a good lawyer, not your friend, not a random Facebook group, and an actual licensed real estate attorney. Because one wrong setup can destroy your investment. Mistake number 2, buying in the wrong location. A lot of expats buy property based on vacation emotions. They visit a beach town for 5 days, fall in love with the sunsets, then suddenly buy a property without thinking long term. But living somewhere is very different from vacationing there. And some of the things many foreigners forget to consider includes hospital access, internet reliability, flooding, power outages, transportation, future infrastructure, rental demand, resale potential as well. So some beautiful areas in the Philippines are actually terrible investments, especially if there's no long-term growth happening nearby. Meanwhile, places foreigners ignore today could explode in value over the next 5 to 10 years because of new highways, airport, business districts, tourism growth, and infrastructure projects. This is why smart investors focus less on what looks beautiful today and more on where development is heading. Number 3, ignoring hidden costs. This one surprises almost everyone. Many foreigners think, if the condo costs 8 million pesos, then I just need 8 million pesos. Not even close. There are hidden costs everywhere. Things like, I'm sure you know these costs, transfer taxes, title fees, association dues, maintenance, repairs, property taxes, insurance, furnishings, agent fees, legal fees, and so much fees. And if you buy a condo, monthly association dues can become very expensive over time, especially in luxury developments. Then there's another issue nobody talks about enough: developer promises. Some projects look amazing in brochures, but turnover quality can be very disappointing in real life. So before buying anything, you need to visit the property personally, check the developer reputation, talk to actual owners, inspect the building's quality, and study the total ownership cost and not just the purchase price because, cash flow matters more than the hype, of course. Mistake number 4, buying purely for cheap prices. So that is actually a trap. Foreigners often say, wow, property here is so cheap compared to America or Europe. And yes, compared to Western countries, some Philippine real estate looks affordable. But cheap does not automatically mean good investment. Because a bad property at a cheap price is still a bad property. I've seen foreigners buy condos with terrible management, units impossible to rent out, homes with no resale demand, simply because the price looked low. The smarter question is not, is it cheap? The smarter question is, will this property still be desirable 10 years from now? I mean, especially this is Philippines. But yeah, that's what matters. Good investments usually have strong locations, demand, infrastructure growth, quality developments, of course, scarcity, and strong rental markets, not just low prices. So sometimes paying more upfront for the right property actually saves you years of, headaches later. So mistake number 5, rushing the decision. This is probably the most emotional mistake. A lot of expats move to the Philippines during the honeymoon phase. Everything feels exciting, everything feels affordable, everything feels better than back home. And then within weeks, they buy property too quickly without fully understanding the market, the culture, the location, the laws, their long-term plans. And later they realize the area isn't for them, traffic is unbearable, flooding is common, the lifestyle doesn't match expectations, or they simply choose the wrong city. And one more thing I think is extremely important. A lot of people hear the word investment and immediately think about business or making money. But for many foreigners moving to the Philippines, I know this isn't just an investment. This is home. This is where they plan to retire, raise a family, build a peaceful life, and honestly, that changed everything. And I know not only single people come here, there are also families who actually relocate to the Philippines, the whole family. And because when you're buying a property for actual life, not just profit, your priorities should be very different. For example, healthcare access is huge. It becomes huge. And I really think many expats underestimate this in the beginning. I've heard horror stories from families living on beautiful islands with amazing beaches, beautiful house. But when a medical emergency happened, they struggled badly because there were no proper hospitals nearby. And that becomes very scary very fast, especially as you get older. So before buying any property, ask yourself first, how far is the nearest quality hospital? Is there an emergency care nearby? Are there specialists available? Can ambulances even access the area properly? Because paradise feels different during a medical emergency. And another thing people don't think about enough, groceries. I mean, seriously, I know people who literally travel to Manila twice a month just to buy imported products and international groceries they can't find where they live. Really, that's crazy. So yeah, they drive for hours. They take a roll-on roll of ferry, load their car with supplies, then travel all the way back home. Wow, really? Just because the island they chose didn't have basic international options available. I don't know, maybe they don't have a Caesar salad dressing or a ranch or a mustard. Maybe that sounds adventurous at first, but imagine doing that long term. I mean, eventually you'll get tired of that, especially when you're older. So accessibility matters more than people realize. And if you have children, schools become a major factor too. Not just any school, good schools. Because the reality is some far flung provinces in the Philippines still struggle with education quality and resources. So that's another thing you need to consider if you have kids coming with you. So before choosing a location, think long term. Education quality, safety, healthcare, grocery access, transportation. But I'm sure you will have your own car for sure. Community, lifestyle convenience. Of course, that's also very important, especially for the people who wants to retire. And because your dream home should make life easier, not harder. And honestly, I think the best location for many expats are places that balance both worlds. You can still enjoy, beaches, nature, slower lifestyle, lower cost, while staying reasonably close to modern hospitals, international groceries, airports, good schools, major cities. I feel like this is Dumaguete. That's why a lot of expats go to Dumaguete. But anyway, that balance is incredibly valuable, especially for retirement. because the goal isn't just to survive in the Philippines. The goal is to live happily ever after, right? So, I'm not an expert, but my advice, you rent first. Live in the Philippines for at least 6 to 12 months before making a major purchase. Explore multiple cities as well. Experience rainy season, experience traffic. These are very important things. Experience real daily life. Because buying property should improve your life, not trap you financially. It sounds cliche, yes, but those things that you need to do are the most practical thing to do actually before you buy a property in the Philippines. Now, despite all these mistakes, I still believe the Philippines offers incredible opportunities for foreigners, especially if you understand the market properly. The key is simple. Don't buy emotionally, don't rush, don't assume the rules work like your home country. Do your research, work with professionals, work only with lawyers, and think long term. And if you do that, you can build an amazing lifestyle and potentially a very strong investment here in the Philippines. So let me ask you guys, what's the biggest concern you have about buying property in the Philippines? Drop it in the comments below. And if you want more honest videos about real estate investing and expat life in the Philippines, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.